I'm going to walk you through the latest release of VTiger 7 open source and the features that have been introduced. First, let's take a look at the menu. The menu is completely different than the earlier version, and you can see this is how you will access the available modules. So first, let's take a look at organizations. And what we have here is a list view of organizations. It's slightly different than VTiger 6, but the functionality is pretty much the same. You can see the filters are now on the left instead of in the middle. You can click on the filter, and you can also create and edit filters from the same area. One nice feature about the filters is you can now share the filter with users, groups, and roles. Next, we have ability to preview the record by clicking on the icon, and you can go through the records one by one. We have ability to star and favorite the record. The editing and seeing the details is now moved to the front of the record, and the search button was also moved from the right to the left. Another nice feature about VTiger 7 is that you can now edit the records on the list view. For example, if I double click on it, it puts me into the edit mode, and then I can save the information from the list view. Let's go into the account. If I opened an organization, I can now see the summary view is slightly different, but we still have our summary, which are now called key fields. We have activities, comments, and all the other widgets that are available on modules. We can then go into details, and that'll give us the full list of available fields. We can click on one, put in a value, and save it. So the functionality is pretty much the same. We have a new feature that's called touch points, and it basically shows all the changes, emails, comments added to the contact. Basically gives you an overview of what's going on with each record. The comments, they introduced a new option to add files. So now, in addition to posting a comment, you can also attach a file to the same comment. And you can also roll up the information from associated contacts and other records and see all of them on the higher level of organization. So the next related lists were replaced with these icons. So these are opportunities, and then we have tickets, and there's more right here. If we scroll down, we can then see the opportunities. If we click on one, it will open the summary view, and then we can close it, and we can also edit without leaving the organization. It just pulls up the summary view of the opportunity. We can close it, and we're back to our view. In addition, we can now search by any field on the list, which was not available in VTiger 6. Next, we have documents. So there's a new feature within documents where we can actually drag and drop the document instead of having to browse. To see that, we'll go into sales. Actually, it's right here, documents. And if I were to add a new document to VTiger, and then I can drag and drop the file here, and it'll get automatically uploaded to the VTiger server. The invoices, quotes, sales orders, and purchase orders are pretty much the same. We would add a new invoice, and we have standard list of fields, the addresses, and down below we have our items. The only new feature introduced here is the tax regions, where you'll be able to configure taxes based on the region your customer is in. And we'll get to that once we get to the configuration area. The other nice feature on the opportunities is being able to convert the opportunity to the project. So if I pull up one of the opportunities, open it, and we have now a button that's called Create Project. It's very similar to convert lead to opportunity, organization to contact, but this allows us to convert opportunity into the project. So if I click that, it gives me a pop-up with the fields configured in the configuration area, and we'll get to that in a second. Another nice feature on the list views is ability to merge contacts. Say if those two contacts were duplicates, I can simply select them and then use more and then merge selected records, and that puts those two records side by side, and I can then pick and choose the information I want to save and then simply hit merge. For project management, there were some updates to projects, milestones, and tasks. So if we'll look at the project, we are now able to see the progress within the Gantt chart. So if I'll open my sample project, we have the widgets. The view is pretty much the same as the earlier version, but now we have this section for chart, and we can now see basically the progress based on start end date of each project task and milestone. If there was more data here, it would probably give you a better understanding, but that's available, and as you start using projects, you'll be able to utilize this feature. The other nice feature is dashboards. In VTiger 7, we can now create more than one dashboard, so you can have your dashboard default. You can add additional dashboards such as sales, support, and then within each dashboard you can add different widgets that are applicable to those dashboards. So that's a really nice feature introduced in VTiger 7. Since we're on the dashboards, let's go and take a look at the reporting capabilities. So the reports are no longer in the menu, but they have now been moved to the upper right corner, and if we click on this icon, it opens up a reports section, and we can see the existing reports, and we can create detail and shared reports, and then those reports can then be placed in to the dashboard. And next, let's take a look at the calendar, and the calendar is right here. Again, it's not in the menu, and it's going to be in the upper right corner. The calendar looks pretty slick, and it's been updated. So if you're a heavy calendar user, I'm sure you'll appreciate this new feature. You can expand it, and then you can see your events, contacts, invoices, etc. on the calendar. So that's a new nice feature that allows you to put any other module on the calendar as long as it has a date. And you can switch between week, day, and agenda views. Next, we have our task management tool, which is again in the upper right corner. If we click here, you can now see your tasks sorted by priority, high, medium, and low, and you can select the users you want to see, the statuses, and then you can filter by showing all today or this week's view. So basically this is where you can see everything that's open for the day and the week, as long as you're using your calendar and tasks properly. Next, let's go into the configuration area and see what's new there. So I'll go to menu, settings, and CRM settings. And for the most part, the users, the roles are pretty much the same as in the earlier version. The only update to the profiles that was done is we can now, in addition to allowing users to create, we can now differentiate between if we should allow the user to create a record or just edit. So that's been introduced in the latest version of VTiger. Next, under module management, we have modules, which is similar in VTiger 6, so no new functionality here. The layout editor is slightly different. It's just the user interface, but as far as the functionality goes, we can still add custom fields and select the attributes as in the earlier version of VTiger. We can also see the relationships as well. Next, under automation, the web forms, the scheduler is pretty much the same. And then there was an update to the workflow interface where if we open a workflow, we can now see the basic information. We can see when the workflow is triggered, what the condition is, and what the action is. So we no longer need to go through 3 separate screens to get to the workflow of action. It's all within one screen. So that's nice from the admin standpoint. In the configuration area, everything is pretty much the same with the exception of pick list field values. In the latest version of VTiger, we can now associate a color to a pick list value. So if I edit this value, I can then assign a color, and if I were to look at this in the detail summary or list view, I would see the value being colored as a sign here. So that's going to be a nice feature to differentiate the values. Next, we have Menu Manager, where you can add and move the modules around within this menu. Under Marketing and Sales, we have the lead conversion mapping, which existed in VTiger 6. And the one that we just looked at, the opportunity to project mapping, where you can map opportunity fields into the project fields as you're converting opportunities to projects. Next, under inventory, we have the tax management, which allows us to configure taxes as well as tax regions, the ones that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and that's where you'll be able to add your tax regions and assign taxes to each region. Under my preferences, everything's pretty much the same, just the basic user information. Integration is PBX Manager, extensions, extension store, and other settings, mail converter, which is also standard functionality that was available in VTiger 6. So that is the quick overview of VTiger 7 open source. Thank you.